29 de septiembre de 2017. 6:29 a.m. I've been having a lot of nightmares lately. Just right now, I woke up from talking in my sleep. I wonder how this all works. There are times when I can go a month or two. Perhaps this is a result of not having to worry about school, or maybe it is just me having too much free space in my brain due to the lack of artistic responsibilities right now. I don't know. It's all pretty weird. 6:45 a.m. I have this Doom song stuck in my head since last night. Disappear, reappear, disappear again. I love that line in Doom's delivery. It's a time of rap greatness I wish to achieve one day. Now, if I could only lose that fear to practice rapping. 6:48 a.m. My stomach continues to act like a bitch. Looks like last night's story isn't over yet. 6:55 a.m. Dad left to the bank extra early today. I hope he can solve everything. Losing $500 in today's or any economy hurts like a motherfucker, especially in this situation where every penny counts. 9:22 a.m. I look at my window and then out the door, and then it hits me. This might be the most beautiful morning in the aftermath of Maria. 10:02 a.m. Got hooked on Pokemon again, currently catching and training as many as possible, even thinking of asking Aleto for some help, like trading some so I can continue catching and training. I remember once being close to having all of them on Pokemon Gold, I think. I only needed 13 or 14 to complete the collection, but then my Game Boy fell and the data was erased. It was painful to say the least. Now I'm shy of 28 to have them all on blue. Most of them are legendaries or Pokemon I can't find in this version, but on red. So that's gonna be my mission once things get back to normal. Contact Aleto and get working on finally having all the possible Pokemon on blue and training them to level 100 and giving them all the power-ups they can have. I know it's kinda silly and it isn't a big deal, especially in these times of crisis, but it reminds me of a time when things were a little easier. 11 a.m. Tio Robert and Titi Made just came home. Big surprise. I thought they weren't gonna be able to come down in a while. They told us what happened in Arecibo and the rest of the north and northwest. And from what I could gather, it was all devastation, and to the government it seems they don't exist, because there's no water nor power and the supplies are limited. I'm just happy to see Tio and Titi. I was worried something might have happened to them. As soon as they came in, and as soon as they left, I gave each one a hug and kiss and told them I loved them. Now I can rest a little easier knowing they and most of my family is okay. Now I gotta get a hold on my Mesa family and see how they're holding. 1:07 p.m. On writing by Stephen King, Pokemon Blue version, OWBSK, PBV, OWPSK, PBV. This has been my day so far, with the exception of Tio and Titi's visit. 1:21 p.m. Dad just arrived and he brought some ice and Capri Sun. He too is surprised about Tio and Titi's visit. Who wouldn't be? What happened up north was big. I'm glad Dad's here. Now we can decide as family where we're gonna eat today. 1:34 p.m. It starts to rain with strong winds and the fear suddenly kicks in. Is this another storm? 3:20 p.m. Just arrived from BK. Mom and I got a little scared because por poco teníamos que esperar for over a half hour. One of the managers told us they were going to shut down the apartment for a while. But she let us in, and we got our orders. Now we're home, and we just ate our late lunch, early dinner. I turn on the car so the battery doesn't die. Dad arrives, and he eats his meal, while he asks me about Tio. I repeat the story about the devastation at Arecibo and the north and northwest. It sucks to repeat it. Hopefully the people will do their best to restore the north and northwest. Fuck the government. 3:50 p.m. I walk up the hill of the suburb next to my house to see if I can get a signal and call Michelle. I do, and I call her, but there's no answer. Not on her phone, not the house's either, and it sucks. But on the way back home, I see the sweetest thing I've seen all day. An old woman cutting her husband's hair. I wish I could have that someday. I also see the funniest thing I've seen all day. Neighbors' dogs hunting each other. Now, that shit was hilarious. And it might seem silly and childish, but in these times, I'll take any laugh I can get. 4:14 p.m. They say patience is the key to surviving a crisis like this, without going mad, but la paciencia se está acabando. People are getting angry and desperate. It's only a matter of time before the fuse ends and the chaos explodes. 4:46 p.m. I listen to the radio, and the attack and criticism of the government by La Isla continues. La gente está encojonada y cuando venga la hora de la verdad, I hope they show it. 4:53 p.m. Tragedy brings greed. Many have profited off tragedy. War is an example of this. The aftermath of Maria is another. 5:16 p.m. Dad reads the newspaper, an article about the education department. From what I gather, school will take a while before it starts again. The same thing happened where George is attacked. No me está raro que pase ahora again. 5:20 p.m. An article in the newspaper states that over 70,000 people are being affected due to the effect of La Ley Seca. The restaurant biz peeps, to be more specific. Some are not even opening, because La Ley Seca stops them from selling their biggest form of revenue, alcohol. Like it says on the article, La Ley Seca ayuda a algunos pero afecta a otros. 5:40 p.m. It is a bright and sunny afternoon, not hot at all, pretty windy in fact. It is probably the greatest afternoon since before the attack of Maria. In times like this, we gotta enjoy every beautiful moment we can get, and so I do. I go out, inhale, exhale, and enjoy the breeze. 6:29 p.m. I don't know if it's good or bad when the sky turns pink or blue and pink, but it's beautiful. Sadly, I can't enjoy it as much as I would because the damn mosquitoes keep biting my legs. 6:59 p.m. It had been a while since I last saw the moon and the stars shine up the night. I guess that's one of the positives we can find in not having any electricity. We can feast on this beautiful image. 7:05 p.m. Mountain towns in the east side of the country are certainly having the worst of this. Just heard that Lares might have to close its two biggest supermarkets due to the lack of diesel to keep their power plants on. Now I hear that in Utuado, communities have suffered from the flooding in ways that are unimaginable to man, and that the lack of communication makes it even harder to aid those in need. The crisis is truly terrible. I just hope the people in these communities are okay, at least in health, even if the struggle is great. 7:24 p.m. Heard on the radio that the lecheras around the island, especially the milk capital Atillo, were affected heavily. Milk is being lost because it can be sold in supermarket and it isn't being produced in the best way. And they would lose more if they tried my suggestion. But why not give out milk for free if they can't sell it? People are desperate. I bet they would consume the milk if it was ready for consumption. 7:32 p.m. A community in Aguada lost it all. God. These nights listening to the radio are turning into horror stories that one listens to in campfires. Except there's nor camp nor fire, only flashlights and darkness. 7:51 p.m. Amongst all the horror stories, good news arrived. A young man took a lost wallet to the radio station so it could be delivered to its owner. All personal documents and cash were still inside.